Hello and welcome to the Fancy Comma YouTube. Today I decided that I would do something I normally don't. I decided that I would do a video and talk about my opinions on things that are happening right now because, yes, Fancy Comma LLC is a business. It's a small business. I'm the founder and CEO of it. And you know how they always say, my views don't represent my employer? But my views kind of do represent my employer because I founded my company myself. So I can't say like my views are not representative of my employer. And when you hire Fancy Comment to work with you, you get me working with you. So this is my video on things happening right now that you're welcome to, as with all of our videos, just do a vibe check and see, is this the kind of person that you would like to meet and work with? So I came up with as many different current events as possible. I should say we are a science communication and policy consulting firm, so these are all related to science, policy. This is what you get when you hire us to work for you, to do whatever. Okay, so the first one is the Michigan Democratic Senate primary. So I have been watching a lot of C-SPAN lately, and one thing that I watched recently was the Senate debate between Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens. Abdul El-Sayed apparently ran for governor before in Michigan. He has a podcast. Haley Stevens currently serves in the House. And El-Sayed has a science background. Even though he was affiliated with the Uncommitted movement, which was people telling people not to vote for the candidates because of the war happening, the Israel-Hamas war, he supported Kamala Harris immediately when she was running, and also is a very outspoken critic of the war happening, which when I was working on a journalism piece for a local journalism publication here, it was my job to write about the local impacts of this war happening super far away from us. And it was incredible how much complexity there was in this. It's interesting to me the dynamics that have kind of been ignored by politicians. Like, I feel like they thought that the war would just end and they would just be able to get elected. Wars are so annoying. They're really cramping our style. Think about how many different wars we have going on. I'm really excited for Abdul El-Sayed for many reasons. And one reason is because I am Persian American and I don't support the Iran war as it has been executed. I just don't think it's achieved any of the objectives that people have said it would. And also it took money away from things that personally affected me. My healthcare went up so much, and then Congress did the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and they defunded like all of these different benefits for people, low income people, and that actually affected farmers and grocery stores, and they defunded all these grants. And I didn't see any members of Congress really either able to stand up to this or stand up to it. And then the thing that killed me that Congress did was confirmed RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary. Why did they think that was a good idea? That makes no sense. But Abdul El-Sayed, I'm really excited about him because I saw he was leading in the polls, and there's a bunch of different reasons I'm excited about it, and I will just tell you why so you can see if we pass your vibe check. The first one is he would be the first Muslim senator in Congress, which is very significant because how can one of the most common religions in the world not have a representation in Congress, in the Senate? That's really shocking to me. I do think it is really significant that Zohran Mamdani is the mayor of New York City post 9/11. I think that we've really turned a corner. We've either turned a corner or people are fed up and they are demanding representation, which is how our government's supposed to work. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited that Abdul El-Sayed apparently listens to Arabic music on his campaign, because if you worked in campaigns and you're Middle Eastern, that's like not a demographic that is like part of political campaigns like necessarily. When I worked in Congress, I didn't see many people that looked like me at all, except for when I went to the briefing on like Iran foreign policy, and it was all Persian women, like young women my age, and I was like, I didn't even know we all existed. So maybe we exist and we're out there. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited for someone to finally break this narrative. I think that El Sayed is going to win his primary because Haley Stevens, she's part of the current establishment. She was complicit in all of these different things that have happened. And I think that it is really compelling what Abdul El Sayed says about the fact that the wars happening have a very significant price locally. And that's why he is committed to ending that. I personally think that he can beat the Republican challenger handily because, in my mind, Michigan is not a Republican state. I don't know why they went Republican in 2024. I know that both the El Sayed campaign and the Stevens campaign have Jewish people working on them. And so I was watching the New York Times, and there was this what's it called? Like an Instagram reel type of thing. And it was about these two women. One was like a younger, very progressive woman that was Jewish, and one was a sort of like more moderate person, Jewish woman, working on Haley Stevens' campaign. And it was interesting to me because they were both Jewish, but one viewed the current political environment in the Democratic Party as hostile to Jewish people, which honestly, as an observer of it, it does border on anti Semitism a lot. That's what really troubles me. There's a lot to say there. Many people have been killed about that topic. But here on Fancy Commas YouTube, we like to talk about the difficult issues because we're literally in like not even one, but two different wars relating to Israel. So we need someone to figure it out, not be ragey, just like have a peaceful solution for everyone. I think it also will tell us a lot about the role of money in campaigns because Haley Stevens has gotten a lot of money. Al Sayed will be the first to tell you that they got a lot of money from the Jewish PAC, or is it the Israeli PAC? I think it's Jewish. American Israeli, right? APAC, um, who has long been a contributor to campaigns. And it's just recently that these people like dear white staffers, and I just learned who Hassan Piker was yesterday, and I was like, I didn't even know he existed. So there's this whole like scene that I have been missing. I just watched MSNBC this weekend, and I just learned about Pod Save America. I have a lot of catching up to do. But anyway, so that's my opinion on that. I'm excited for whatever that means for the US because we really need to talk about some of the things that we have not been talking about, like how there's been like three different wars going on. Okay, so now we have the other one, the other Senate person I was going to talk about, Graham Plattner. So Graham Plattner is this combat veteran that ran for office, and he recently dropped out of running for the Maine Senate as a Democrat because all these women came forward with accusations that he had assaulted them and all this stuff. And first, when these accusations came forward, he was like, no, I deny these. These people are just doing a smear campaign. And then all of the people that were supporting him stuck by his side. And then finally, there were more accusations. And like, as a woman working in politics, you can spot these people. You get like a weird feeling about them. People don't want to confront this idea that their favorite politicians could be like actually terrible people when they're not at their job. Like their personal life could be terrible. Like what's that show with the politicians, House of Cards? Those people had a terrible life. So now we have Troy Jackson versus Susan Collins, and now Troy Jackson is leading Susan Collins, which is like makes me feel weird. It's the same with Haley Stevens versus Abdul Al Sayed because it's like we should support women in politics because we are terrible to women in politics, but we don't. But it's like at the point where you're a woman in politics and you're not doing the job that people want, then just like anyone else, you get to retire. Get retired by your constituents. Okay, so that was those two. So now we have the World Cup. The World Cup was really great. All I did this summer was watch the World Cup. Did you watch the World Cup? I was not rooting for Spain, but then I learned about how Lamine Yamal was a baby and Messi met him when he was a baby. So then I was like, well, obviously he has to win. He's like the baby of the group, and he did win, and that was great. I learned a lot about Mexican football that I football. The accent is on the U that I did not know about, like who all the different players are. They let Ochoa play again, and we kind of have the same hairstyle. I was really excited about that. I was excited, like the mascot of the World Cup. It's got the moose for Canada. It's got the eagle clutch for the U.S. and it's got the like leopard or whatever Zayo. I was all about that. Like I wish they had like slash fiction about all three of them going out on adventures because that was really adorable. It was nice to have the World Cup be in the U.S. for once, and like I would know where everything was. So that was another thing. I was not happy about the way that FIFA treated the Iran players, nor was I happy that the players and the team had ties to the war that was ongoing. So it was kind of like a lose lose because I read that the Iranian players were only admitted day passes to play the games. So they would get admitted and then they would play the games and then they would just travel to outside of the country, outside of the US. And they played in LA, which has a huge Persian population. And that was really fun. That had good energy. It's good to see people that look like me on TV for once. I mean, besides this YouTube, which is like, this is exactly what I look like every day. So I was rooting for so many underdogs. Love the Norway team. I've actually been to Norway, and Norway is a pretty cool place. I really want to go back, but now my passport's expired, and I just don't think they would let me back into the country if I ever left because they would pull up my this YouTube and be like, these hot takes suck. But maybe not. But I don't have time to deal with that. So, okay, another thing. We've got more Congress people. Max Miller serves in Congress, House of Representatives. He's Bernie Moreno's former son in law. Bernie Moreno finally came forward and said that Max Miller should not serve in Congress. Max Miller should resign from Congress because anyone that throws hot water at women that they're in a relationship with, or just women in general, like if someone throws hot water at you, if someone throws hot water at their wife, they should not be making decisions for an entire congressional district, especially not on like women's issues. I am just done with every single one of these people that is on the record for doing something that is like bad and then they just get away with it. I'm done with that. Okay, so the other thing is RFK on CNN. So a couple days ago, RFK was interviewed by Donna Bosch, and basically it was just, I'm sorry, RFK Jr., the HHS secretary, was on C-SPAN, and there was one point in the interview where he was like telling Donna Bosch, "You're not a scientist," and she was like, "Well, you're not a scientist either." It had this energy of like, you know, when people that don't have a science background try to just tiptoe around the science because they don't understand it and they don't think it's important? It was that. But only one person was doing that. The journalist was actually pressing RFK Jr. on these questions, and I didn't think he was doing a good job of answering them, probably because he was not a good choice for HHS secretary. And we are a science communications and policy consulting firm, and that is our official opinion. I'm sorry if that appears partisan to you, but there's tons of qualified candidates that actually understand the job well enough to make decisions. So that's that one. Cyclospora is the bane of my existence right now. Not that I was ever eating lettuce that much. I was like last year, I was in this groove of like eating Taylor Farms salads. And actually 2 years ago, I was eating them like all the time, but then I got norovirus. But like, and then they got really expensive. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but when the tariffs hit, suddenly the salads got like $1 more expensive or something. They got more expensive, but then they also got less. So like they'd be like 67% of what they were. So it's just like, well, that's ridiculous. And they started making the little like packets of stuff you put in there. They made those smaller. So it's just like, I guess they think they're sneaky, but I'm just not going to buy these anymore. So hopefully a lot of people just stop buying Taylor Farms salad kits. I don't know if that I ever will again. I mean, probably I will be forced to eat lettuce at some point, but right now, Cyclospora just killed 2 people in Michigan. So it finally killed some people. It all goes back to RFK Jr. and Doge. My official opinion on Doge is that it was not useful. And there's a lot more opinions where that one came from. Okay, so next one is Fauci in Congress. That was a joke. I thought Anthony Fauci, or as my professors in grad school probably call him Tony, because in case you didn't know, all the scientists in Washington, D.C. are friends and they know each other. Because, like, especially if you are a professor at Georgetown, you likely have done some training or have colleagues from like grad school at the National Institutes of Health. So they're all friends. That went the way that you would expect it to go. Just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you don't get your Fifth Amendment rights. That's what I would have done anyway, too, because those people were so full of rage. It was just weird. Okay, now let's talk about the wildfires and the terrible weather. I don't know who wanted this evidence that climate change is real, but climate change is apparently real. Because, like, I haven't been able to do anything recently because it's been so hot. And you'll recall I talked to the person that created climate.us, which is the new climate.gov. And now they've been getting a lot of press about how they're like saving climate.gov, but they probably know better than anyone that climate change is real. I don't know that much about it. Like, I'm a neuroscientist, but I do know that it does have some effects on health, different effects. Like, smoke is not good for your brain. We had some wildfires last year here in Oklahoma, and I couldn't even think because the smoke was so, the smoke has gases in it that just compete with oxygen and like really like mess up your cognition. That kind of stuff, especially when you're a kid, it's not good for you. It's not good for like crops. And then finally, this one I can't stop thinking about is AI hacking each other. And I was thinking about it because, okay, so backstory to this. So there is the AI company, it's called OpenAI. They're the makers of ChatGPT. AI has security controls where you can tell it to not do stuff. And some of this I learned studying the people in the Epstein files. There actually is a guy in the Epstein files that he like brags about, like, even though he's in the Epstein files, he says his family told him to avoid Jeffrey Epstein because he's like a schmuck. Which, I mean, I don't know. Just like the fact that his name shows up in the Epstein files, though, and he did the safety at OpenAI. I don't know if they disabled what he worked on or if he just researched all the different ways that AI can just become like basically evil. But now AI can hack each other. So OpenAI hacked Hugging Face, which is an AI like code repository or something, and then it hacked. Then I think Anthropic came forward and was like, "Oh, our AI got out of its little cage as well, and now it's like hacking stuff." And apparently, the Chinese AI tools, they don't have the security restrictions that American ones do. OpenAI tried to use American AI tools to do this hack, and it didn't let them. But the Chinese AI did. So AI is all hacking each other. And when I thought about it, I was like, that's the most human thing ever, to just like completely just try to break all of the rules that people have created for you. Kids do that a lot. Adults do that a lot. I feel like it's also weird because AI hacking can now be this thing where you don't even need to know computers to be an AI hacker. And that is really strange to me. Those are all my opinions. Did I pass your vibe check? I think everyone should think about things happening in the world and form opinions and gather information and be informed and be able to talk about different issues. And so even if you disagree with my opinions, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of these things. And if you're personally worried about AIs hacking you when you put your head down to sleep at night. Thanks for watching, and follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.